Boker Tov, everybody. Chag Sameach. It is many things today. Erev Shavuot, chief among them, the beginning just tonight of the holiday where we receive Torah, harvest all of our produce, reap what we have sown in the most beautiful of ways. Today is also a complicated day in that 1 year ago today, two young people named Yaron and Sarah, two young Jewish diplomats. Yaron was a German Israeli, and Sarah was a Jewish American. They were a couple. They were part of an AJC, American Jewish Committee's gathering of young diplomats at the Capitol Museum in Washington, D.C. And they were gunned down by an anti Semitic terrorist, and we remember them today. Their lives of beauty and meaning and love are part of what we bring into today. We bring it into our Shavuot energy because much of the learning that we do is imbued, because we are Jewish, with a history of what we have been through. Our gratitude knows no limit because we as Jews understand what it is to go through time as vulnerable human beings. It's what animates a lot of our decisions. It's certainly what fuels our work, but it also must raise our Torah up to an even higher level. Because we have to ask, in the context of our real lives, our lived experience, our honest history, what is it that we must learn? What is it that we must learn? What is the Torah that we require of the world and the world requires of us? And so I wanted to ask that question. I don't want to answer it. We have the right and obligation as individual, free, and proud Jews in this moment of history to name our priorities. And Torah, in so many ways, is a response to the world as we inherit it. The Torah itself can be understood in many ways as a gift from God. That's how some people believe the Torah came into being. Some, especially in ancient Midrash, believe that the Torah was God's blueprint for creation. If you look at the ancient collection called Midrash Rabbah, there was a beautiful understanding of Torah as God's gift to the universe in advance of there being a universe. God consulted Torah, and the conversation about this leads the rabbis to wonder what wisdom Torah represents. The conversations sound oddly contemporary. And so I'm asking us to take seriously this question. What is the Torah we must learn? What is the Torah we must teach? It is ancient, it is cosmic, it is bigger than one moment. It can not only be a reaction, but it can be a response. And that is so important for us to hold on to. What we teach, Torah, wisdom, instruction, must be attuned to the world as it is. Here's one of the ways that the Torah itself is a response to its contemporary world. You might know, as everyone does, the Noach story, the story of the flood. When you take this seriously, and by this I mean, what is Torah in its time? You compare it with other Near Eastern ancient stories. There is a flood story that, based on all evidence, predates the Torah's story of Noach. What is that story? It's called the Epic of Gilgamesh. And there's a character named Utnapishtim who is the hero of the flood, who has a whisper from the gods to create an ark because a flood is coming. So it sounds very similar. But Utnapishtim is on a search for eternal life because he witnessed the death of his friend. And isn't that interesting? Noach's story is not about living forever, it's about living. The Torah is a response to even what the core of the original story was. Our telling, which perhaps came after that one, tells us that Torah itself is a response. Here's another difference in that one story. In the ancient Mesopotamian story that I've been referencing, the Epic of Gilgamesh, the flood happens because humanity is making a lot of noise. And the gods can't sleep, and the gods find human noise annoying. And so they send the flood to be rid of the nuisance. That story does not consider human beings to be created in the image of God. Our story does, because the Torah teaches that God created us in God's own image. And what prompted the flood? Not God's annoyance at noise, but God being heartbroken that human beings were hurting human beings. The Torah took an ancient story and transformed it into a statement of human morality. What disappoints God? Not when we're noisy, when we're cruel. And what are these creatures that interact with the divine? In the ancient Near East, pawns, ants, fleas, nothings. But in the Torah, images of infinity. So as we enter into Shavuot tonight, and we celebrate what it is to receive it again, and we do our parts to channel it forward, let us remember that Torah itself has always been a response. Another classic example would be if you move from Genesis, where we just were, to Exodus, and to understand the section of Exodus that we call Mishpatim, laws, which has another ancient parallel called the Law Code of Hammurabi, where the Law Code of Hammurabi says, when you cause someone else pain or you injure someone else, the punishment is based on your social status. If you're of a lower social status than the person you hurt, you are put to death. If you're on a higher social status, you perhaps set them free. In our Torah, it doesn't make a difference what your social level is. Human beings are all created equal. In this way, the Torah again is a response. Let's jump forward to the book of Deuteronomy. What a gift it is to have a retelling of the earlier books, which is what Devarim, Deuteronomy, really is. And what does it say about this promised land that our ancestors wandered toward for 40 years? Yes, it is a promised land, but it is a testing ground for our own behavior. What a powerful thing to understand, that our very sacred text that promises us this land in the name of God holds us accountable to our conduct once we're there. The Torah, yes, says you are chosen, but never says you are chosen unconditionally. The covenant is conditional. We will continue to earn our right to have our land based on how we conduct ourselves once we're there. What a powerful thing for us to take seriously. The Torah in all of these ways is a response, and I haven't even broached the era that we call rabbinic after the biblical era is done. And so I invite us to take all of this in and to consider what is the Torah of response that we require today. In an era that is defined by instability, with a complexity that doesn't defy the past but is ours. This complexity is ours to face, ours to respond to. What is the Torah we need? And yes, we can look at our sacred texts for suggestions and answers, but not applications. That's where we come in. Revelation, standing at the mountain, requires not just a recipient, but a channel for this wisdom. When you answer the question I have asked, which is what is the Torah of response we need right now, I want you to go just one step further and deeper, friends, which is this. How can I serve Torah unfolding in the world? If, as John has just written, it's the Torah of loving rebuke that the world needs most, how then can I learn how to give loving rebuke? We're good at the rebuke part, but loving rebuke, that's a Jewish way of being when the world is complicated. We are free, proud, alive, determined parts of a community that continues to go through time in a vulnerable, collective way. It's what it is to be a human, certainly, and it is definitely what it is to be a Jew. And so I invite us, what is the way that you will take all of this, our history, our pride, our frustrations, our vulnerability, our strength, what is it that you will channel so that Torah can grow through your heart tonight? We're going to stand at that mountain. It's going to tremble, and so will we. Please, God, we should find our tents camped near each other so we can take good care of each other. What will we receive, and what will we do with it? I bless us. I bless you. I bless myself. I bless us to be brave enough to hold our ground as the mountain shakes, to keep our hearts open though the message might be intense, and to realize that our bodies must be channels for that wisdom. We must allow ourselves to grow and be agents of response, just as the Torah is, was, and will be. So Chag Sameach, beautiful friends. Shavuot is tonight. Aren't we lucky? Let's be ready. Let's send our hearts to the east so that we can connect with our whole Jewish world with strength, with love, and everything we've got. Kol hod balevav penima nefesh Yehudi homia ulefatei mizrach kadima Ain letzion tzofia od lo avda tikvateinu hatikva bat shnot alpayim liot am chofshi be'artzeinu eretz Tzion v'Yerushalayim Liot am chofshi be'artzeinu eretz Tzion v'Yerushalayim. Am Yisrael Chai. Chag Sameach, friends. Shabbat Shalom. See you on Monday.